Welcome back to The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Calista Faria. Joining me now is Ambassador Linda Sober. She is the Palestine's ambassador in the Caribbean region. Ambassador, it's really the scenes that we see on the media. It's really terrible. But you also are you in touch with on the ground with people in Palestine? Do you have any more information than what we have been seeing in Western media so far, and Al Jazeera, which has been doing a very good job?
Good morning, and thank you for having me and for inviting me today to talk about what's going on. Just wanted to correct that I have finished my term in Venezuela. I'm also the ambassador in Dominica, St. Kitts, St. Louis, and St. Lucia and St. Vincent. With that clarified, I just want to say yes, we are on a daily basis. We hardly sleep. We try to wait and see when they have phones and they have charged by solar or any other means, and they can send a text and say, yes, we are okay. Yes, we are still alive. One of our families told me, yes, we are still alive. We don't know how long, and we don't know if we are able to send you another text message. We have not heard of many friends and family in over a week or 10 days, their last messages. Maybe they are in the displaced, 1,400,000 Palestinians without homes. On daily basis, our ministry is updating us. Our local TVs, our press, who can have access to inform us what's going on. But the whole world is seeing, and the Western media is not showing what's happening on the ground. They're not showing that we have over 9,050 assassinated, where most of them were more than 3,900 are infants and children. Western media is not showing. Western media is not showing that the attacks on ambulances, on hospitals, on schools, on UNRWA schools, on churches, where in the church only there is people displaced or families that their homes has been completely bombed. We have a second Hiroshima. Hiroshima, 13,000 tons of explosive. By today, we are equal to Hiroshima, and we have the 13,000 explosive and bombing on Palestine, because Gaza is part of Palestine. It's
And
the whole Palestine.
a refugee camp, Ambassador, Tuesday and Wednesday has been the target of bombardment from Israel. Anything, have you been able to get any reports, official reports out of Palestine on the situation there?
Yes, on the first hand, it was over 400 assassinated. By the end of the day, it was over 700 assassinated, many under the rubbles, many injured. So we cannot get a total number, since today there was another bombing. Yesterday, 6 tons of explosive on a 50 by 50 meters in the refugee camp of Jabalia. In the refugee camp of Jabalia, we cannot even identify. They're all burned. They're all bones. We can just look at remains. This is what we're seeing. This is what we're watching, and we're having to explain to our kids when they, or grandkids, when they watch and see and say, what's going on? What happened to this baby? Who killed this baby? The whole world is silent and looking. No one can see. They have not known about what's going on in Palestine. They've done it to us in 1948. They've done it to us in 1967. It happened in 1973. It happened in 1982, and I can keep counting. But at that time, there was not social media, and people heard about it. Now people are looking at it.
But around the world, Ambassador, people are taking to the streets in defense of Palestine. We see
Yes.
we see demonstrations in Trinidad and Tobago, in Barbados, in Grenada. We've also come out on the streets where I'm speaking to you from. In South Africa, and their story is very close to yours. Well, it's almost the same as your story, the story of apartheid. People are saying that what is now happening is that Israel is controlling basically an apartheid state, an apartheid territory in what is happening in Palestine. So around the world, people are speaking up and adding their voice in support for what's happening. Even at the United Nations, certainly the sentiments expressed by the Secretary General is it was certainly a definitive statement in condemnation of one side and support of the other, in my view. Does that give you hope, know that more of the world is saying this is wrong?
Absolutely, because all the people who cannot stand what's happening, they're speaking up. All the people that thought this conflict, it's not a conflict. It is not a religion problem. It's not a religion issue. This did not start on October 7th. This has been brewing and happening since 75 years. We've been oppressed, occupied, slaughtered, burned for 75 years. This is not, Hamas is part of Palestine. Hamas is a product of the occupation. When I say product of the occupation and all the fractions, because we are entitled to defend ourselves. We need to defend ourselves. I am against killing of any civilian, of any place, of any human being. But we need to defend ourselves. I'm not justifying. I'm just saying Palestinians need to come out and defend themselves. We are without weapons. All these women, all these children, all these displaced people in the church, all these injured people and displaced people in the hospital, aren't those war crimes? Isn't bombing civilians and burning them? Isn't attacking schools and killing and slaughtering all these children and all these women and all these elderly that have nowhere to place, that their homes were demolished, were bombed down when they're sleeping? My dear sister, I want to ask you a question. Yes, go ahead.
Let me ask you though, reports are that the hospitals, they are on generator power. Israel has blocked the importation of fuel, and so hospitals very likely could be without power at some point soon, food and that situation. Do you know if they have reached some sort of agreement that is allowing dual passport holders out, as well as some severely injured out? There was a total blockade for a while there. Do you know if the conversation is moving towards Israel allowing more humanitarian support for Palestine?
There is conversation from other countries with Israel. We're trying to reach an agreement where at least fuel, food, medical supplies, but they are blocking. They cut the electricity, they cut the water, they cut the food. What is this? Does this mean? What does this mean when you slaughter, bomb, and then cut electricity, water, and medication? Hospitals, they're running on generators, but they're always out of medical supplies. They collapsed. Many hospitals, more than 200 hospitals, when they are threatening to bomb Al-Shifa hospital, when there is so many injured, where it's so many that they are taking the hospital as shelters from women, elderly, injured people. Where are they going to go? When they ask people to evacuate the hospital, where do you send severely injured people? Is that allowed? Is in Ukraine, it is being a hero and war crime, and Palestine, it is okay to slaughter and kill Palestinians, to bomb hospitals, to bomb schools, to bomb churches, to destroy mosques. Is it allowed? Is it the double standard? want the people of Grenada and all the Caribbean to listen to this. You've been oppressed, you've been under occupation, and you have your freedom and you are independent, and we are looking to be like you. We want to be independent, we want to be a free state, we want our children to grow up not under oppression, under occupation, under the F-16s, under the bombing. What kind of psychological treatment we can give those who remained alive, who lost all their families, those babies that saw the whole family in front of them gone, or they've seen just pieces or bones of their family in front of them. What kind of message we're giving to these children? What hope are we giving to these children? The whole world needs to stand with us to end the occupation. Your voice is being heard. Your voice is important. Talking about Palestine is very important. Talking and teaching your family and your children about oppression, about the people of Palestine are being slaughtered. It's not about Muslims. It's about human beings. When they bomb a church, when they bomb a school, it's all about human lives. Human life matter on both sides.
Have any of the Caribbean leaders reached out to you? There was a vote last Friday at the United Nations asking for a ceasefire. All of the Caribbean countries except one, Jamaica, voted in support for an end to the bombardment and the war. Has anyone reached out to you to speak to you about the situation, the leaders of the region here where you're posted?
Yes, absolutely, from day one. And I'm in complete communication and coordination also with the Prime Minister, Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of Grenada, where foreign ministers of many other countries have reached out. Communications in support and condemning what's happening, the support for Palestine, the vote last Friday of the whole Caribbean was in favor of ceasefire and to stop the slaughtering and the war crimes in Palestine.
And reports also that Israeli forces are moving towards Gaza City. So this is a heavily populated area as well. Are you extremely worried? Do you have family there?
We're very worried. I will say all Palestine, yes, we do have family, but all Palestine is my family. All Palestine is our blood. All the slaughtered children are our children. I'm, as a grandmother, say, all these babies are my grandchildren. We are extremely worried. We are devastated. We are depressed. We are working untirelessly for 24/7. I just want to say also that in West Bank, it's not just in Gaza. Over 200 martyrs, they've been slaughtered. Mosques in the refugee camp of Ain Shams, another mosque of the refugee camp of Jenin. Yesterday and every day, at least there is 10 or 11 or 12 that have been assassinated in the West Bank. Hospitals have been also attacked, and let's say over 1,000 they've been detained. They just enter, abuse, and slaughter, assassinate, and take hundreds of people on daily basis from the West Bank to the Israeli jails. Palestine is whole. When we talk about Gaza, we talk about Palestine. We talk about our leadership, our president, Mahmoud Abbas, many times, and our leader many times alerted, warned about the situation, talked to the whole world in the United Nations to please help us stop the bombing, help us stop the attacks, help us stop the assassination that the Israeli is conducting over West Bank and Gaza. West Bank and Gaza is Palestine, Jerusalem. All the abuse that the Palestinian Jerusalem live and face on daily basis. This is very important to say that we've been living this day by day for 75 years, but for the past year, it's been very intensified, and my President Mahmoud Abbas talked about it. Our leadership warned about it. Our Foreign Minister, Dr. Riyad Maliki, in all the forums have been talking about it, in all the forums. It's not something that happened on October 7th or started that day.
1948. Ambassador, I want to thank you so much for joining me on The Narrative to give us a view of the Palestinian story through your eyes, and certainly we wish you all the best as you continue to cope with this very, very difficult time for your people. Thank you so much for being on The Narrative. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
This is The Narrative. I'm your storyteller, Callistra Farrier, speaking there with Ambassador Linda Sobey, who is the Palestinian ambassador, Palestine's ambassador to the Caribbean, a number of countries in the Caribbean. She's also the ambassador to Venezuela, but as she said earlier in the interview, that tour has ended. More when we come back.